everyone, this is Christina from Initiative Tabletop, and I'm going to show you Cavemen Playing with Fire. It's an Odynauts game, so let's take a look inside this little box.
So this is the basic setup for Cavemen Playing with Fire. Each side is basically a mirror image of one another. You have the 3 fires at the end, and you have 2 caves of one color, 2 caves of another, and then at the other end is fire as well. So what your goal is to basically maneuver around your cavemen and try to put each other's fires out. So everybody's given a deck of cards. This is the blue person's cards. And each one of these has a number. For instance, here's 5, Gutsy. And so you will be placing these cards anywhere, if I was a blue player, anywhere that's within the blue area. So I could place him here, for instance. And then say that my opponent decided to also place maybe 4 Plucky. And say he decided to place him here. During our turn, whenever we would go to move our caveman, I could say, I want to fight this particular caveman. I don't know what he is, but that's what I want to fight. So both of these would get revealed. And you have 5 Gutsy, 4 Plucky. The lower number beats the higher number. So the lower number gets discarded, and the person who actually won that round can choose to advance if they so desire. So basically throughout the game, you're going to be placing these different cavemen. There's also caves too, which can help give you a distinct advantage. You can lay the cave on top of another cave, so now you have another deployment spot that's closer to your opponent's fire, and you can be playing those. And there's special cards such as Zippy, which he's defeated by everything, and then once that happens, you get to get cards out of what they call your inactive deck, which is basically your discard pile. And then there's also a really neat guy called Dino, which once somebody says, or you say you're going to attack, he eats him, and they both are taken out of the game. So you won't even get them back, even whenever you do get your inactive back. And this is the big guy, Ballsy. He's a 1, so he's pretty much undefeatable except by Zippy. Zippy can defeat him. Your basic goal to the game is maneuver around your different cards, trying to take out your opponent's fires. During your turn, you can place up to 3 cards, and that could be cavemen, it could be caves, whichever you so desire. So you would move these around, and the way it works, when I would go to move, if I was the blue player, I move in this row. I can also jump over and move in this row. I can jump over this and move in this row. Now one thing to note though, if I choose to jump over and move over here, this can't move. You only can do 1 action per vertical column. So since I moved over in this one, I couldn't move this card. But this guy can still move. They only move 1 space unless it's somebody like Gutsy, which has the 2 footprints, which means that he can move 2 spaces. One thing that I was a bit unclear of on the game, you have to put out each other's fire. That's the objective for the game. We weren't entirely sure as to if you reach the fire, that means that you put it out, or whether you had to spin a move. So we just basically assumed it meant that you had to move on to the fire. So if you were here and say that you defeated this guy, then when you go to move in this row, you just move over it, you take out the fire. Once you take out 1 fire, you win the game.
So that was Cavemen, and you're probably wondering, what's a Caveman? What are these other 2 games doing out here? The first Odynauts game I got to try was Rule the Roost. We actually did a review for it, and it's a pretty fun, light game. We also tried Chip Leader, and it was another fun game with a unique mechanic of trying to create suits. We did a review for this one as well. All those games have in common is Odynauts. They're all Odynauts games. Cavemen Playing with Fire is also an Odynauts game. It's got the same cute alien cartoons. They came to our planet, and they, instead of creating their own fire, they just put out each other's fires because they quite haven't grasped the concept that fire is basically life. That's really the only thing that it shares in common with the other Odynauts games. Rule the Roost and Chip Leader were a lot of fun. They were very light games. They were easy to get the hang of. Cavemen, it wasn't difficult to get the hang of. The rulebook was extremely difficult to understand. It left a lot of questions more than helping with answers. It also felt very taxing to play the game. I really wanted to like the game because I played the other Odynauts games and they were cute, they were fun, and I really enjoyed them. Cavemen Playing with Fire did not live up to the expectations. It was actually very disappointing. And when the game was over, I was actually happy it was over, not necessarily because of who wins, but because I was looking forward to it ending. Cavemen Playing with Fire, it's lacking in a lot of areas. And I can't quite put my finger on it, but it definitely reminds me of some other games that I've played before, but not as well as some other games that I've played before. So, Cavemen Playing with Fire, sorry, but it just didn't live up to my expectations. And it's a game that I won't be owning any longer, but you can't win them all. So, thanks for checking out Initiative Tabletop, and may the dice roll in your favor.